Welcome to From Click to Client, where we transform a confusing message into a clear, compelling story that sells. I'm your host, Kris Jones, StoryBrand marketing expert. I'm here to help you attract more dream clients with the power of story. Hello there! Today we are talking about how to turn your website into a client-generating machine using StoryBrand. Your website should act as your top sales employee, and if it isn't doing its job, I am going to break down the exact structure that I use to fix that for good. I'll be answering rapid-fire questions to keep it. I'll be answering some rapid-fire questions to keep it casual and real, so let's go. Okay, why do so many good-looking websites not work? They don't work because they're not using story to sell. They don't work because they're not clear. So StoryBrand really helps break down the structure of a story. So I'm talking about the story that we've told to each other as humans from the beginning of time. This is how we gathered around the fireside way back when. So that same structure is used in every story you've ever heard, every movie you've ever been to, every book that you've ever read follows the same story structure. When we walk into a movie theater and the lights dim and we get pulled into the movie, and for 90 minutes we do not get distracted. We don't look at our phone, we don't go to the bathroom, we don't go get popcorn. We are fully immersed in this movie. So if story has the power to capture our attention in that way, why wouldn't we also use the power of story in our messaging on our websites? Wherever we talk about our business, we should be doing it using the structure of story. So a website might be really beautiful, but it might also be beautiful and not work to get you new clients. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but the main ones are there's no story being told. When I look at a lot of websites online or my potential clients' websites, we look at their website together. Often there's no story being told at all. And on top of that, the messaging is unclear. I'm left when I'm reading the website with more questions than answers. And we never want to make our website visitors work to figure out what it is that we do, how we can make their life better, what's the one big problem that we solve for our clients, what's the transformation we provide, what's the next step that they need to take to work with us. So kind of a blanket answer to that question, why do so many good-looking websites not actually work? It really comes down to story, no story being told, and really confusion, too many words, lack of clarity, trying to cover too much territory with the website. The website is really, I liken it to like a first 5-minute coffee date. It is not your resume. It is not your life's background. It is a first 5-minute coffee date meant to create enough interest and enough intrigue in order to get them excited about taking that next step with you. In order for them to want to book a call with you or buy your offer, we've got to build trust. We've got to cultivate connection. We have to establish resonance. And story is the most effective tool to create all of that. And so that's why I use it in everything that I do, both for my own business and for my clients' work. Okay, the next question, can you share a story of someone who spent a ton and still got crickets? Yes, a lot of clients come to me after they've spent thousands of dollars. I had a client recently who had spent about over $20,000 on a website redesign. She hired a really gifted designer. And honestly, the site looked beautiful. Like the color palette was gorgeous. The stock photos were really pretty. Even the font treatment was really nice. But when we moved through the site, it was really clear there was just no story being told. And this is a really difficult moment that I have with my clients when they've forked over a lot of money to revamp their website, but yet they thought the issue was design, that if their website looked better, they would get more clients. But ultimately, even when it looks better, it's not going to work to get you clients if it's not telling a story. So essentially, she worked with me, and we were able to work with the original design and infuse a story into the design. So in the end, she had a beautiful website, but she also had a really powerful and compelling story. And then immediately just people started responding, clicking on that call to action. I mean, the whole goal is to get people to click on the call to action. And those people need to be right fit clients. So there's a lot that goes into it. But ultimately, when you tell a really powerful and compelling story and you pair that with beautiful design, beautiful, wonderful, magical things happen, and your business is able to grow pretty effortlessly. Okay, the next question is, what even is StoryBrand? Like, what is it? What if you've never read the book Building a StoryBrand? Most business owners, most coaches, most consultants are somewhat familiar with it or have heard the term before, but I'm going to give you the really quick, 30-second overview so you really understand what it is. And I touched on this earlier. Essentially, there's a formula for every story that's ever been told. And when I say formula, that can kind of have a negative connotation to it. But really, when you think of the amount of movies that have been made that are so dramatically different from each other, right? The same movie has never been made twice. And even though all movies follow the same story formula. So there's limitless creativity that can happen within the framework. But when somebody tries to make a movie and abandons the framework or abandons the formula, the movie flops. And so again, why not capitalize on a framework that has the power to capture the human brain's attention in the most effective way? So StoryBrand really breaks it down. Really, in a nutshell, every story you've ever heard begins with a character or a hero that has a problem they don't know how to solve. They're out and about trying to find somebody who can help them solve their problem. And that's when, about a third of the way into the movie or the story, there is a guide that comes into the picture. And the hero meets the guide. The guide knows how to overcome this problem. And the thing I want you to remember here is that you're the guide and your clients are the hero of the story. And so your job as the guide is to really break things down for them. You want to encourage them to take action because if they don't do anything, nothing's going to change. They have to take action in order to reach their transformation. And so as the guide, your job is to really break it down for them and give them a very simple 3-step plan. Step 1 is the call to action. Step 2 is engaging in work with you as a coach. And step 3 is the happy end result. Our brains want to know, when is that happy end result going to happen? Like, where's the carrot at the end of all this? Where is the end goal? And so the plan reassures them, okay, all I have to do is step 1, 2, and 3 until I get my happy end result. So your job as the guide is to step in and have just so much empathy for your client. And you get it, right? You've either overcome this struggle yourself or you've helped other people, a lot of other people, overcome it. So you just show up with a lot of empathy, some authority, you give them a plan. The plan is the thing when they read it, like they've been stuck in their problem for a long time. And so they're feeling a little bit discouraged. And the plan, when they read it, they have this internal thought, which is, I can do this. This is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And when they have that internal thought, they click on your call to action. Everything we do on your website is in service of clicking on this call to action. That's how we know the website's working. People are clicking on your call to action. So the plan encourages them and inspires them to click on the call to action. Now, the last step in every story is really about stakes. Stakes just mean there's success to be had and there's also failure that's possible. And we want to create a nice, healthy tension between those two things. So we pull them through and we keep them engaged in the story through stakes. And so we want to go heavy on success and really continually remind them what's in it for them, how they're going to benefit from it, from solving this problem and working with us. But we also want to gently put our hands on their back And we want to just say, if you do nothing, here's the truth. You're going to keep, what's going to happen if you do nothing, right? That's really the question I want you to answer in that stakes section. What happens for them if they don't do anything? They don't make any changes. They don't solve this problem. And so it might mean continued overwhelm. It might mean eventual burnout. It might mean missing out on profits. It might mean staying at a weight that they're not comfortable with, or that's not healthy for them long term. So those are the components of any story brand story, and actually any story you've ever heard. And it's incredibly powerful. Again, our brains are really wired for it. And so Donald Miller kind of broke the story framework down in a way that business owners could then apply it to their own businesses. And let me tell you, when I adopted the framework in 2017, magical things started happening, both for my own business, but more importantly for my client. And I watched them book a record-breaking amount of lead calls. I watched them increase their rates. There was a client of mine who increased his rates 6 times and didn't change the amount of work he was doing. He was just showing up, really connecting with potential clients, and really showing his value. And that's the other thing that happens when we tell a very compelling story and we're very clear about the problem that we solve. People are so relieved that they found us. Oh, I found the right person. This is the person that I know is going to help me overcome this challenge. And so they're happy to pay what you're worth. Okay, next question. Why does flipping the script, client as the hero, you as guide, change everything? So what happens when we do this? Number one, I want to say this. The weakest character in every story is the actual hero. We don't know if the hero is going to succeed or if they're going to fail. And so they're not the strongest character in the story. The strongest character in the story is the guide. And that's why you want to position yourself as the guide. Famous guides are like Yoda, Mr. Miyagi, Haymitch in Hunger Games. So you really want to show up as the guide. And when a potential client comes to your website, they are wanting to feel a connection. They're wanting to understand what it is you do, how you can help them. And when you position your client as the hero, you're showing them that they matter to you more than anything. Their struggles matter to you, their success matters to you, and it matters so much that you make them the central character in your story. Yes, you are part of the story too. You are the guide, and that's the most important role. But we want our heroes to feel seen. We want them to feel heard. We want them to feel like they're not alone in their struggle. And when we do this, then they automatically think that we're the best ones to fix it. So there's incredibly wonderful things that happen when you position your clients as the hero and yourself as the guide. All of a sudden, they look at you with respect and trust and connection, and they feel like, of course, I finally found the person that's going to help me. What happens when a coach makes themselves the hero of their own story? The quick answer to this question is, number one, I just want to share, this is like 99% of the websites on the internet right now. Most coaches, most business owners are making themselves the hero of their own story. And I totally understand why this happens. You think, I've got to get my website up. I've got a business. I've got to get clients. I got to, crank out a website. So you get on Squarespace or Wix or Kajabi or whatever, and you throw it up and you kind of follow their template. But the thing about those builders, which I really like all those builders actually, but the templates that they provide you encourage you to position yourself as the hero. And they don't do this to be mean. They just do this because they're not in the business of strategic websites. They're in the business of a pretty website. So they want to make it easy. Here's the template, throw it up, fill in the blanks, and done and done. The problem is you end up with a website that I call it like a brochure website because it doesn't actually inspire anyone to take action. It kind of just sits there like a bump on a log, wasting Wi-Fi, and that doesn't help you grow, right? That doesn't get you clients. So I know you want an effective website, and when you position yourself as the hero, your website won't be as effective because you're painting yourself as the weakest character in the story, and your potential clients can't envision themselves engaging with you because there's only room for one hero in every story. So if you have taken that role and then you have a hero coming to your website, they're like, oh, that role's taken. I can't picture myself here. And what happens is most of this happens unconsciously, but they come to your website and they're like, seems like a credible coach, but I'm going to keep looking, because they aren't feeling that connection. They're not feeling that trust. They can't see themselves in your story because you are the hero of your own story. So I really, again, just want to double down on, as a coach or as a consultant, you've got to position your clients as the hero and yourself as the guide if you want your website to work. Okay, we'll do a few more questions and then we're going to sign off for today. Let's talk about the header of your website. So this is really that area of the website that shows up right when somebody comes to your page. In this section, you've got about 5 seconds to communicate, what do you do? How's it going to make their life better? And what do you want them to do next? So this might look like coaching for women over 40 that are struggling with weight loss, or you really want to identify, what do you do? And that would be coaching or consulting or a group program or a course. What is it? What is it? What is it? Define that. And then who's it for? So we want to identify our hero, and then we want to very clearly show them what's in it for them. How are they going to benefit from this? So it might mean, work less, make more, or finally fit into your favorite jeans. How are they going to benefit from that? Lengthen your life because you're going to be more fit, whatever it is, right? We want to reassure their brain that they're going to benefit from this. And then the most important thing is the call to action. What do you want them to do next? And so often, I was just reviewing some websites today, the call to action was at the very bottom of the page, and I had to scroll all the way down to find it. You want that call to action to be right up on the front, right in the header area, and ideally in the upper right-hand corner of your website. That's the most valuable real estate on your entire web page. So the call to action needs to be there. And when I talk about a call to action, I could talk about this for another 30 minutes, but the call to action needs to show them what you want them to do next. For most coaches, this would be book a call, book a discovery call. And I would say that's probably the most common one, book a discovery call. But we really want to rethink that call to action. So how can we make it more compelling? How can you integrate a benefit into the call to action? So for example, I used to have on my website, book a clarity call. Not bad, it was fine. When I changed the wording to book a money-making messaging call, all of a sudden I started getting a lot more calls booked. And that's because I wove in a benefit to it. And it's true, they do get that benefit from getting on the call with me. They learn how to craft a story and tune up their website so it makes them more money. So what's a benefit that you could offer in your call to action in booking a call with you? Are they going to get clarity on the roadmap to weight loss? Or are they going to get some other kind of strategy? Are they going to get a growth strategy? Are they going to clean out the clutter in their home? Are they going to become a better parent? So, if it's a parenting call, for example, if your ideal clients are parents, there's a website that I did for a client who helped women co-parent with calm and peace. And I want to say her call to action was book a co-parenting strategy call. And so what that did was it helped people understand that this is not just a call that they're going to get sold on. They're not going to show up to this call and just be sold to. They're actually going to get value from the call. And so we want to be honest, of course. We really do want to give value. We also, on the call, I think both people want to understand, would this be a good fit for working together? And I think that that's a fair expectation. But also we want to give value to them. So when you name your call to action, make it short, make it concise, but weave in a benefit, like book a call versus even book a strategy call. Like if I know I'm going to get some kind of strategy on the call, that word has so much more value in it than just book a call. So when they land on your website, what do you do? How's it going to make their life better? And what do you want them to do next? If you can accomplish those 3 things in under 5 seconds, you have done the most important work on your website. All right, that is all for today. In the next episode, we're going to go over more questions and go even deeper into StoryBrand. So I want to thank you for being here today.
Is your website turning away potential clients? I can help you turn that around. Book a money-making messaging call with me today, and we'll transform your story into your most powerful sales tool. That's all for this episode of From Click to Client. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. I'm Kris Jones, and I'll see you next time.